Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's story is one that few believe they would ever hear, and even fewer expected to see unfold in real time. Ukraine shocks the world as Crimea is fully retaken, marking one of the most dramatic turning points in modern conflict history. What once seemed impossible has now become reality, forcing the world to reassess power, strategy, and the future of global security. For years, Crimea was considered untouchable. Analysts called it a red line. Military experts described it as one of the most fortified regions in Europe. Politicians spoke about it in careful language, often avoiding firm predictions. Yet today, those assumptions have collapsed. The retaking of Crimea is not just a military event, it is a political earthquake, it is a psychological blow. It is a moment that rewrites expectations about war, resilience, and national determination. The shockwaves are being felt far beyond Ukraine's borders. Crimea holds enormous strategic importance. Its position in the Black Sea makes it a critical naval and logistical hub. Control of Crimea means influence over shipping routes, military reach, and regional security. Losing it was a severe blow for Ukraine. Retaking it is a defining moment. For Ukraine, this victory represents far more than territory. It symbolizes survival, resistance, and the reclaiming of sovereignty. For years, Ukrainian leaders promised the Crimea would return. Many doubted them. Today, that promise stands fulfilled. The operation itself was not sudden. It was calculated, patient, and precise. Months of pressure weakened defenses, supply lines were disrupted, communication systems were strained, control was slowly eroded until holding Crimea became unsustainable. Modern warfare played a crucial role. Intelligence sharing, advanced surveillance, and precision strikes reshaped the battlefield. This was not about overwhelming force, it was about control, timing, and strategy. Equally important was morale. Long-term pressure changes behavior, it creates uncertainty, it drains confidence. When morale breaks, even strong positions become vulnerable. This psychological factor proved decisive. As news of Crimea's retaking spread, global reactions poured in. Allies of Ukraine praised the move as a historic victory for international law. Supporters celebrated it as proof that occupation is not permanent. Others reacted with concern. Questions about escalation emerged immediately. What happens next? How will global powers respond? What does this mean for regional stability? European leaders called emergency meetings. Security analysts revised forecasts. Defense ministries reassessed their strategies. The entire balance of the conflict shifted overnight. Markets reacted as well. Energy prices fluctuated. Trade routes became uncertain. Investors responded to the increased geopolitical risk. Crimea's location makes it economically significant, not just militarily, within Ukraine. The emotional response was overwhelming. For many citizens, this moment represents justice. Families displaced from Crimea now see a future of return. A chapter of loss has begun to close. But victory brings responsibility. Retaking Crimea is only the beginning. Holding it, rebuilding it, and uniting it peacefully will be a massive challenge. Infrastructure has suffered years of strain. Military installations dominate the landscape. Civil services must be restored. Law and order must be re-established carefully and fairly. The people of Crimea have lived under years of political tension. Information warfare has shaped perceptions. Reconciliation will require patience, trust, and inclusive governance. Ukraine now faces the task of proving not only that it can reclaim territory, but that it can govern it responsibly. The world will be watching closely. International organizations are preparing to assist. Humanitarian aid, monitoring missions, and reconstruction funds are being discussed. Crimea's transition back into Ukraine will be one of the most closely observed processes in modern history. This event also sends a powerful message globally. It challenges the idea that territorial changes through force are permanent. It shows that persistence, unity, and strategic partnerships can alter outcomes. For smaller nations watching from afar, Crimea's retaking offers a sense of hope. It reinforces the idea that sovereignty matters and that international support, when sustained, can make a difference. At the same time, the risks are real. A moment this significant does not exist in isolation. Reactions from opposing powers will shape the next phase of the conflict. Military postures may shift. Diplomatic language may harden. New alliances may strengthen while old assumptions fade. The information war has also intensified. Competing narratives are emerging. Claims, counterclaims, and interpretations flood media platforms. Truth becomes a battlefield. of its own. In this environment, perception matters. How the world understands this moment will influence policy decisions, public opinion, and future support. For Ukraine, maintaining international backing will be crucial. The retaking of Crimea strengthens its position, but sustaining momentum requires diplomacy as much as military strength. This moment also raises deeper questions. How does this change the nature of modern conflict? What lessons will militaries around the world draw from this operation? The emphasis on coordination, intelligence, and patience may redefine future doctrines. Traditional ideas of static defenses are being challenged. Technology played a central role, from real-time intelligence to précis Scion operations. This conflict highlights how warfare has evolved, yet behind the technology are people, soldiers, families, civilians. Their sacrifices underpin every strategic success. This human cost must not be forgotten. The world now stands at a crossroads. Crimea's retaking is not the end of the story. It is a new chapter, filled with uncertainty, opportunity, and responsibility. History will study this moment closely. It will be analyzed in military academies, political science classrooms, and diplomatic circles for decades. Whether this leads to lasting peace or further confrontation remains unknown. What is certain is that the rules have changed. Ukraine has altered the narrative. Crimea, once considered lost, has been reclaimed. The impossible has happened. As events continue to unfold, one thing is clear. The world is witnessing a historic shift, and its consequences will shape the future far beyond the borders of Crimea. If you want updates and deeper analysis on how this story develops, stay connected to the channel, because this is a moment the world will not forget.